The Sim Championship Racing Series typically runs road course races with Ferrari GT3 and GTE machinery in a multi-class format. But what if the tracks only went left and we replaced the sports cars with big, loud V8 engines and ran the series in the dead of winter? You'll end up with the SCRS Winter Stock Car Series. We missed the first 3 rounds of this championship, but we'll be showing the action from here on out. From short tracks to speedways to the Charlotte Roval, we'll race the NASCAR Xfinity vehicles over the next 5 weeks. Welcome to Richmond Raceway and the David Cater 150. Finian, time to go short track racing here with the Class B car, a car that we actually haven't done any broadcasts with, but I'm excited to do it as it's one of my favorite oval cars.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun race here tonight. Some short track action that probably, as we were talking about earlier, probably one of the least characteristically considered short tracks compared to Martinsville and Bristol, but still should put on some fantastic racing nonetheless.
Absolutely. Of course, tonight's race being run in honor of David Cater, the gentleman that passed away last week, 1 week ago, was a great iRacing community member and friend, and we please ask that you keep him in your thoughts as well as his family, and you can also do that by donating to his GoFundMe. It's still well short of its goal, so I've posted that in the live chat, so please consider donating if you have the means. This race will be run in David Cater's honor, with the David Cater logo there at the bottom of the ticker. So thank you for that. But 150 laps tonight here at Richmond. Finney, we talked about short track racing. Pretty much the most physical kind of oval action you can find on an oval schedule here.
Yeah, and as we look to the top of the chart, Sarah Cameron Rich is currently sitting on pole after only 8 drivers have put down a lap, but shortly behind Dalton England, only 0.02 of a second slower, with a 21 flat.
Well, we've seen Cameron Rich before, and over on the 3-wide Racing League side of things in the Cup Series, he is pretty unstoppable in that car, but we head over to the Class B stuff, and looks like he's just as fast there as he was in the Class A car, so he's probably going to be the one to beat here tonight. Was already fast in practice, and also looks to be fast in qualifying here with about 2 minutes left. Also, I believe this is our first night race since the addition of iRacing's Dynamic Skies. We've gone in, it's been a day race where we've gone from day to night, but tonight's conditions here, Finian, probably won't change a whole lot. 77 degrees ambient temp in the air, 78 degrees track temperature, partly cloudy. Pretty standard conditions here. It'll be grippy and fast for these drivers tonight.
I would say, if anything, the track temp might go up maybe 1 degree with all these cars going around the track. That's probably the only temperature change we're going to see. But yeah, it should be really cool, and that's going to mean that these guys have a lot of grip to work with. So we should see a decent amount of passing, too, with these guys not sliding all over the place.
You know who just jumped to the top of the board? Chuck Sweeting in the number 5 car, Finian. A great run for him. Thomas Morris, the 99, jumps up to P4. And Ryan Kelly, the only car still left out on track, running a qualifying lap.
Yeah, notably too, a lot of guys that ran in the 3-wide series, notably Chuck Sweeting, Cameron Rich, looking through Chad Brown, Todd Smith, and there's one more driver. I'm trying to find where he is. Pretty sure there's one more driver. Oh, Thomas Morris. That's what I was looking for. So those guys have come over here to race in this league and should put on some fantastic racing, especially guys like Chuck Sweeting and Rich.
Absolutely. So qualifying pretty much complete here. I don't think anybody else is going to go out and run a lap. David Wilson is on track, but is not proceeding towards the start-finish line here in that number 28 car. So we'll be waiting up for this to finish up here. About 45 seconds remaining. Chuck Sweeting and Cameron Rich will probably be your front row. Now Dakota Ehrman in the 49 will pop out onto the racetrack. He should have time to get himself back around. Oh, he's loose, and he's almost going to spin it out. That might be the end of his qualifying run there, and it will be, unfortunately.
If he kept going, he might have been able to beat back to the line, but yeah, no, he's not going to have enough time.
Yeah, so he tried, but got loose out of turn 2, spun it around, and kind of killed his effort there. So Dakota Ehrman will be starting towards the rear of the field. 20 seconds left. No one else starting the lap, so your qualifying order on the left-hand side of your screen: Chuck Sweeting, Cameron Rich, Dalton England, Thomas Morris, and Jonathan Mazzella, your top 5 in the Class B cars here tonight. Well, let's talk about the Class B car a little bit here, Finney. In the Xfinity Series cars, a little bit less horsepower, between 600 and 650, down to about 100, 150 from the Cup Series cars. What's it like to drive these things around an oval?
It's a lot more planted than their car counterparts. It might not seem like much, that 150 less horsepower, but it really makes a huge difference. These cars are a lot more planted. You're less likely to slide off the corners when you're putting the throttle down. They just have so much more grip from the less horsepower, so they don't spin the tires as much, and they also have a little bit more downforce.
Yeah, a little bit more downforce, and I think that's really the key here. This whole season, the remainder of the season at least, the next 5 races, we're going to go to some faster racetracks where that downforce is going to mean a lot. And what that means is that you can corner with a lot more speed, and that's a lot more throttle time for these cars. So that's going to be a significant factor at some of the faster racetracks, as well as at the Roval. We will visit the Charlotte Roval in a couple of weeks, Finian, and that place, you're going to want all the downforce you can get. But tonight at Richmond, not so much a big factor. You can beat and bang, knock the nose off the car. You'll still be pretty competitive. The rest of the field getting gridded up here. We'll take a look at your starting lineup here in just a moment. But 150 laps on the grid here. Looks like we'll have 19 entrants to this one. And just waiting for a couple stragglers to get on the grid. But let's take a look at our starting lineup on the front row. Chuck Sweeting and Cameron Rich, the 5 and number 2 Chevrolet Camaros, will be starting on that front row. Following behind them in 3rd and 4th, it's going to be Dalton England and Thomas Morris. England in a Camaro and Morris in a Ford Mustang. A little bit, not a whole lot of Mustangs out here tonight, so Morris isn't going to have a whole lot of manufacturer friends. Back in 5th and 6th, Jonathan Mazzella, Jeff Hollingsworth.
Hollingsworth, the only Camry on the field, I believe.
Well, that's a shame, but Mazzella will be in a Camaro. Chad Brown is also in a Camaro, as well as Eric Mickey in the number 8 car. They'll be starting in 7th and 8th. And Chad Brown crossover from 3 wide, as well as Todd Smith driving the number 21 tonight in another Chevrolet Camaro. Andrew Lutz in the 101. He'll be starting in 10th in another Chevy Camaro. We'll let the rest of that grid scroll across the bottom of your screen as we get ready to go pacing here at Richmond Raceway. 150 laps again. And we're about to get ready to go. So Brian Newton, Andrew Mickey did not grid up. So potentially either starting from the pits or not going to start the race here this evening. Field rolls off. And what a lap by Chuck Sweeting. That was a great qualifying effort for that Dove Men Care number 5 Camaro. And had some success in the 3-wide truck series. Won a race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And was always one of those guys to look out for late in the going. But didn't get a whole lot of wins here. And so far he's showing a lot of speed tonight here, Finney. And so early predictions before we get going. Who do you think is going to get this tonight?
I gotta say, it's probably gotta be our championship points leader, Cameron Rich. I think he's really got the pace in the championship in general, and seems to be one of the fastest guys here out on track, second to Chuck Sweeting. So really, I would say it's probably between the both of them, a slight edge to the 2.
Well, Chuck Sweeting is going to have that lead. We're going to get the 1 to green this time by. And you mentioned Cameron Rich, Finian, the success that he's had in several different leagues, but carrying on that success here early in the Winter Stock Car Series for SCRS.
And a quick points update too. So as I said, Cameron Rich is our points leader, followed in second Zach Rupkick, and in second, 9 points behind, and Robbie Vrabel Jr. is going to be 14 points behind. That's your top 3 in points.
I believe it was Vrabel, was it not? Am I getting that wrong?
Yes.
Vrabel.
Yeah, that's going to take me a while to get used to.
We're going to get corrected a bunch of times anyway, so we'll make an attempt at it. Again, new names here tonight for us. Most of these people have pretty straightforward names, but obviously, if you're watching this later and we pronounce it wrong, please correct us via Discord or YouTube or however you'd like it. Because obviously we don't want to say your name wrong. As we found out the other night, we were saying someone's wrong name for probably months on hand. But tonight, 150 laps at Richmond Raceway coming out of turn 4. Chuck Sweeting and the number 5 will lead him down. Green flag in the air. Down to turn 1, Cameron Rich on the outside. Didn't give it up early. He got a great start. Can he carry that momentum to the outside, or will he be able to slide in behind Chuck Sweeting? Sweeting clears and will lead down into turn number 3. Look at Dalton England in that number 19 car. He'll slide to the inside of Cameron Rich.
And you see Rich took a wide line, was almost passed by Thomas Morrison behind, but Rich is going to do the crossover on England, work on the inside of him into turn 1.
He'll take that spot back. A lot of argy-bargy back towards the center of the field, the 60 of Robbie Vrabel. And almost get into the fence there. Oh, we got one out. The 109 car in the wall. Ryan Kelly on the back straightaway. And we'll stay green for now.
Yeah, it's if he can get that car turned around. Trying to get her turned around.
And he'll just
and it looks like
escape that car. Yeah. But obviously, he just got the power down too quick. Cold tires maybe here, Finian, could be the culprit for that.
Yeah, I think so. And again, these guys got to generate just a little bit of heat in these tires. It is nice to have the tires relatively cold, but you don't want them ice cold as you're not going to have enough grip in them.
Well, that lone number 97 Camry is riding in P5 right now, but he's got a hard-charging Eric Mickey in that number 8 car right behind him. But getting a little bit tight for the lead here. Cameron Rich is chased down Chuck Sweeting, maybe looking for a pass here in just a moment.
Yeah, it could be. He might actually just wait on it at the moment, as he does seem to be just a little bit faster. So he might wait for Sweeting to make a mistake and then take the opportunity.
So what's the sense of urgency here tonight, Finney? 150 laps at a short track like this is not a lot of time. So we saw last night in the VRL Talladega race a lot of waiting around, waiting for the time to pounce. But tonight it's more of a sprint race, is it not?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit more on the sprint side of things, but I would say if you're one of the guys currently in the top 5, you're probably going to be a little bit more patient. If you're in around 15th and you're trying to work your way up to the front, you're probably going to be chopping through the field like there's no tomorrow, trying to race up to the front. But definitely a little more urgency here tonight for these guys.
Seen Todd Smith in the number 21 car. He's dropped back 3 spots since the beginning of the race, so he's struggling a little bit with the handle on that 21 Armor All Camaro. And right behind him, Chad Brown and Matt White in the number 70 car. That's a Pennzoil scheme on board that Camaro here tonight. Field's still pretty tight, wound together here, Finney. And we got a pass going on up here. I believe that's the 60, or actually right behind the 60. That's the 27, Bentley Glazer. He'll pass by the 93 of Jonathan Mazzella and take away 9th spot. Oh, pass for the lead here, Finney. And Cameron Rich to the inside of Chuck Sweeting. Takes that spot away. Put the 2 car up to the top spot.
Yeah, and Rich is able to get a nice run on the front straightaway to make the pass in turn 1 over Sweeting. And Sweeting actually now starting to be under attack by the 19 of England behind him.
Yeah, England, that 19 car was really quick on the initial start. Almost got around Cameron Rich, but had to give that spot back up, and now he's dogging the number 5 car on the back straightaway. Here he comes, got running a primer gray paint scheme. To the inside he goes. Or that's a really hard line to hold down there, but he's going to try to make it work and won't be able to get it done this time by. One of the things about Richmond here as well, let's take a look at the track map on the left-hand side of your screen, Finian. The back straightaway, pretty short, actually. You really don't get up to nearly as high of a speed as you do on the front straight, and that really changes how you enter corners and can make passes here.
Yeah, definitely so. And you see the 97 right now, he's making a pass on the inside of Thomas Morris.
And Morris will give him the space to do that. And they're going to run side by side out of turn 4. Eric Mickey maybe looking to capitalize on a spot here as well.
Yeah, Mickey started in 8th, trying to take away that is 6th position, so he will do so.
Well, pretty orderly so far, other than the 109 getting spun out here early, Finian. We've kind of settled into a early little green flag run.
Yeah, that's the thing we've been hearing about the series. These guys have been running pretty clean all season long. Few cautions here and there, but clean overall. And, yep, we've been running right now 12 laps in, no cautions, and only 1 self-incident.
Well, we mentioned that number 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth there in the 97 Camry. And moving his way forward up to 4th now from his initial starting spot, which was back in 6th. So he's been going forward, but Eric Mickey in that number 8 car. Here's the guy that's on the move, 8 to 5th, and he might have 4th here in a couple laps as he's catching that 97 car.
Yeah, it looks like that Mickey's starting to settle into a very nice groove here, and he's chasing down this top pack, especially the top 3 as well.
Last time by, ran a 21.6, which is about on par with everybody but Sweeting. Sweeting was a little bit slow the previous lap, but just ran 0.2 quicker than our leader Cameron Rich, so that 5 car still got some fight left in him, although he's got Dalton England right behind him running right on his pace, so he can't let up at all.
Yeah, and the fastest driver in the top 10 is the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth, so he's actually doing some really good job in that Camry.
Tightening up back here for the 7th spot, Andrew Lutz in the 101. Robbie Vrabel Jr. in the number 60 car, dogging him, trying to get that 7th spot away. And to the inside, here he comes, down into turn number 3. We'll try to outbrake that number 101 car. Looks like he'll do it. And take that spot away, clear him up out of turn 4.
Yeah, very clean pass there by Vrabel.
About that 97 here, Finney and Eric Mickey all over the back of him here, but they're both catching Dalton England in the 19.
Yeah, they're both making some very good pace. This entire top 5 is starting to bunch up with each other.
Oh, we got one a little bit slow out of turn 4. The 26 of Jake Champion back here. That's a great name to have if you're in the stock car business. and run that number 26 Nationwide Camaro up a little bit closer towards the front. Started 13th, now 10th, and going to the inside of Andrew Lutz, who has been rolling backwards. Started in 9th. He's about to lose another spot and head back to 11th out of turn 4. Whoa, a little bit close there, but the 26 will clear him. Jake Champion carrying our gyro onboard cam here tonight. Down, not a whole lot of banking here, Finian, so the lines that you can run vary quite a bit. You see Thomas Morris just up the road losing a little bit of ground, but not a ton of banking to lean on here. So if you get into the corner too hot, like the infamous 2008 incident between Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr., that's pretty hard to back out of it without taking anybody out. It's very easy to lock up the brakes if you get in too hot.
Yeah, you really got to watch your braking, especially into 3 and 4. I'd say it's almost worse there than 1 and 2. And you got to really watch yourself, watch your braking marker, and just make sure that you get on the brakes in time. Otherwise, like you said, you can end up getting to the driver ahead of you.
Well, another thing to keep an eye on is the actual brakes themselves, and maybe not with the Xfinity car because they're a little bit slower, but the Cup cars certainly wear out their brake pads quite a bit. I don't see anybody's brakes glowing just yet, but obviously in a race like this, conserving brakes won't really matter, but it's an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Jonathan Mazzella in the 93. Started 5th, now running 11th. I think that was the car that was real slow that we saw kind of backing up in turn 4 a couple laps ago. He's obviously struggling in that yellow Camaro.
And also struggling too is 99 of Thomas Morris. We saw him let Rabel go by a few laps earlier and is now under attack by Bentley Glazer?
Yeah.
Glazer. I'm gonna go
with Glazer, but we'll get corrected for sure.
Yeah, so 27 running in 8th and trying to take away 7th from Morris.
Out up front, though, Cameron Rich has not been able to drive away from Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting is still only 0.3 of a second behind. They're running pretty identical lap times at the moment, only 3,000 separating their times that time through. Dalton England's fallen off the pace just a little bit and starting to get into the hands of Jeff Hollingsworth and Eric Mickey, who are close behind.
And speaking of Eric Mickey, was looking to make a pass on the inside of 97. That turn, 97 cut him off. Hollingsworth's going to maintain 4th.
And you talk about cutting off. Actually, he's going to let Eric Mickey by now, which is an interesting move here. But, I mean, we do talk about, you know, if you're stuck behind someone here, you either have to root them up out of the way, or they have to let you by. And sometimes there's a lot of give and take at short tracks like this. And sometimes there's a lot more take than give. And so far early, Jeff Hollingsworth... pretty stagnant there. Started 6th, running 5th. Now he's going to let the 60 on by. Does he have an issue in that car?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Those two moves, though, last 2 laps of letting drivers by.
Maybe just trying to conserve his energy and stuff for the end of the race. But again, it's not very long of an event. We're already on lap number 25 here. So curious to see what's going on inside that car. He seems to be struggling right now. Thomas Morris slipping right into the hands of that 27 car here, Finian. He's really going backwards. This is not the round he wanted to have here tonight.
No, and yeah, started in 4th and right now in 7th and Andrew falling back to 8th. And yeah, kind of curious of what's going on in his car while he's struggling with any forward progress.
Jonathan Mazzella in 11th trying to get a spot on Andrew Lutz, but has not been able to get there just yet. He's got a real good run out of turn 2, but not close enough to make any moves just yet. But he ran a 10th quicker than Lutz last time by, so we'll keep an eye on this yellow number 93.
Yeah, Mazzella, another driver struggling with some pace early on. Started in 5th, all the way back now in 11th.
Eric Mickey has tracked down Dalton England here, Finian. That number 8 car started back in the 8th spot up to 4th, looking for 3rd. So Eric Mickey on a charge. And remember, Eric Mickey, we're not, obviously, the Andrew Mickey, more of the road course guy, but Eric is quite the oval racer. And back when he ran the 3-wide series, the truck series, way back at the beginning of the year, he was very, very hard to beat in that number 8 car. So he is hauling right now. And also, I just noticed that his left front and right front brake rotors are glowing pretty strong orange colors here. So he's working that number 8 car at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that it is glowing because he's running, able to really get the car down to the yellow line and rotate it. So he's really using the brakes to try to make the car rotate there. So that's where he's using up some of his equipment now. He's trying to get around Dalton England, but just has no chance of getting by. But here comes Vrabel and the 60 behind as well. So we got a three-way battle on our hands for third place.
Thinking about pit stops also, because the pit window here is, you know, you can make this on one stop pretty easily here, Finian. So drivers will be thinking about when they can come down to pit lane. And there is also that caveat there, I believe, is it 10 or 15 laps at the end? If they're within 10 or 15 laps, cannot take tires. So that puts you guys in a box, and that will certainly change the strategy if there's a late race caution.
That is only under yellow.
Only under yellow. Correct. See Mickey try to diamond that and exit low and get a run on the 19 car, but wasn't able to do so. He does have that 60 car kind of breathing down his neck here, so he can't really afford to get too creative. He's just got to stay in line and take an opportunity when it gets to him. He cannot force the issue here and get passed by the 60.
Oh, and 19 England hit the wall as they were approaching the entry into 3, so he lost a little speed on the straightaway, and here comes Mickey trying to mount a charge.
Yeah, actually, it does have a little bit of damage on that right front. Shouldn't affect him at all, but obviously you don't want to be banging your car off the concrete this early in the night. And they're all losing ground to Sweeting and Rich, who are now a couple seconds up the road. Sweeting has lost a couple tenths of a second to Cameron Rich, and Rich now has a 7/10 of a second lead. As we watch Vrabel closing in on Mickey now. Maybe this will be a pass for 4th instead of 3rd.
Yeah, I wonder if Vrabel is kind of trying to bide his time and let Mickey get around England before he tries to make the pass on Mickey. That way he only has to really try to pass one car. So interested in seeing what's going through the 60's head.
Watching on board now with the 60 car of Vrabel as we head down into turn number 1. Seems like he's being very patient, driving the car very smooth. Started back in 12th up to 5th, so he's one of our biggest movers. 7 spots in 36 laps. And looking for a couple more. There's the digger cam there. You see the leaders come by, then that group of 3 all battling for 3rd. Then right behind them, Jeff Hollingsworth in the 97 has fallen back a little ways.
Yeah, it looks like he's started to run out of that steam that he had earlier on in the run, and he's slowly falling into the prey of the 99 and the 27 behind him.
Looking from high above, Vrabel and Mickey trying to get by Dalton England. They're both kind of...
Oh, and England loose off of 2.
Yeah, he seems like he's struggling a little bit now, maybe overdriving the car a little bit, but Mickey trying to find a way around. You see him kind of take the center slow to get that run off the corner, but oh, the 60 car scrapes the wall out of turn 4. Sparks flying off the right side of Vrabel's Chevrolet Camaro. It doesn't look like there's much damage there, so it's just a paint scrape, but certainly a scary moment there for the 60 car.
Yeah, it looks like he lost a lot of time, and I've noticed too, England, even this time through, was shaking out the wheel off of 2, so he's fighting some loose conditions in that car, but the 8 of Mickey seems to be very planted at the moment.
And Mickey really has that car working well. You mentioned how planted he looks. He has not slipped and slid at all. The guys around him have been working their tires and their cars a lot harder. We're working lap number 40 here of 150. We're closing in on the 1/3 mark of this race. And we'll keep an eye on Eric's brakes here to see. He was getting into the corner extremely hard before. I think he's kind of backed that up here a little bit. And his brakes are significantly cooler than they were, so I think he's kind of relaxed here for now. We'll want to bring your attention to the 21 of Todd Smith, who is about half a lap down, and actually in danger of getting passed by Cameron Rich here. If you just look just up the road, you'll find Cameron Rich coming out of turn 2 right now. And Todd Smith might be our first car still on the track to fall a lap down.
Yeah, and Smith has been struggling all night. I've been kind of watching him here and there. Has hit the wall a few times, and that's really given him a lot of right front damage, and that's not been helping out his pace at all.
No, it's certainly not. That actually is quite a significant amount of damage he has to the right front. But we talk about short tracks. A lot of tracks like this, you have to have a lot of patience here, Finney, and getting back on throttle control. But I think most importantly is not getting on throttle too soon, because a lot of drivers want to. There's so little straightaway that you want to commit as early as possible to that throttle to get as much speed as you can. And what ends up happening, you see right there, the 21 slipping way up the racetrack in turn 2.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a battle on our hands between the 27 and the 99 for 7th place. And Bentley's actually going to get around them, get around Morris. And here comes Jake Champion in behind trying to get around Morris as well.
You mentioned Jake Champion started back in 13th, up to 9th, looking for 8th on the 99 of Morris. Out of turn number 4, getting back on the power. And I think the calamity corner for me here, Finney, and Richmond is a tricky racetrack, but I think for me, it's the exit of turn 2 that seems to always catch me off guard, and I think that's where a lot of drivers have been struggling tonight so far.
Yeah, and I think part of that's due to just the transition from the banking, little as it is, from the transition from the banking to a nearly flat surface and the car just unloading off the corner. Definitely a lot worse in the Cup cars, but still definitely bad in these cars as well. And we've seen guys like England struggle with that.
Yeah, England, of course, has gotten into the wall out of turn 2, as has the 60 of Rabel, and I'm sure the 21 of Todd Smith has been in there, and now he's 2 laps down. He is in pit road and getting some tires there, Finney, and so maybe playing the end game over 100 laps, not quite sure you can make that, but maybe you can. I mean, it's only
Ooh, here's a battle. Battle with the 49, the 101, and I believe that's also the 64.
Wow. Yeah, there was lots of battling going on here. Big gaggle for 11th spot. Dakota Ehrman, Andrew Lutz, David Wilson, Chad Brown. Oh, the 70! They get together on the front straightaway. The 64 almost spun it out, but managed to hang on to it. A scary moment there for that number 64. Let's go back and take a quick look at it.
And from what I see of it, I don't think the 70 car is too happy with the 64.
Oh, he drove right into the back of him here.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was definitely some disagreements going on there between those two. I gotta get another view from the 70s perspective here. Yeah, right out of turn 4. Stayed in the throttle, too. Now, those guys are certainly not very happy. Well, that 70 is side by side now with the 21 of Todd Smith, who is lapping.
Oh, and notably, the 2 of Cameron Rich has come down.
Ah, yes. Yeah, so we must be in the pit window here, Finian, if we see these guys coming on down. And so Rich is down, Sweeting is out, but the 19 will follow the leader down, as well as the 60 of Rabel. So Eric Mickey stayed out on that, so curious to see where he'll pop out. The lap time drop-off isn't hugely significant, about a second or so. Now you see Chuck Sweeting coming in. Eric Mickey is going to stay out another lap.
Oh, and England overshot his pit stall.
And that is such an important thing to not do, as you see the 49 car rolling out of pit lane. And the 2 of Cameron Rich is off. 60 of Rabel is out, and the 19 is going to lose a bunch of spots here on pit lane. The 60 will get around him as well as the 97, and out of pit lane they come. The 5 car is in now. You see Eric Mickey on the front straightaway coming around, still out on the racetrack maybe waiting for a caution, or do you think he'll just try to do an overcut here?
I think probably waiting for a caution here. Can't imagine he's got too much fuel left in that car, but you know, could just be waiting for the caution. Could be trying to also do the overcut.
Are we running full tanks in this video?
No, you're not. 60%.
Oh, that would explain. That would explain why we have no fuel. Okay, that's why they're coming in on lap 54. So, Eric Mickey out up front, waiting to make his pit stop here. Maybe just getting some clear racetrack. I mean, he's not lapping all that slow, and the guys that have just come out of the pits, Rich just ran about a second quicker, so Mickey will lose some time here, but we'll also put him in a better spot for the end of the race. Dakota Ehrman coming out of pit lane again. He is now a couple laps down. Did he have to serve a penalty? He was already in pit road before.
Probably had to, yeah. I think he had to serve a penalty, so very unfortunate for that 49, so he's going to lose a lot of time on the track.
Eric Mickey now side by side. That's the 28 car getting by him. That 28 is driven.
Oh, actually, looking at what happened to Ehrman, he actually missed his pit stall coming down the first time, came down a second time to actually get service.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate for him for sure. Matt White on pit lane now in the 70. You saw the just on-track discussion, we'll call it, between him and Chad Brown. And he's probably has to fix a little bit of right front damage. Eric Mickey still out up front, still leading this race. Will eventually have to come in for a pit stop. He's been out there for 57 laps. The top 3 all have been, actually.
Yeah, so still, these guys are still putting down laps and waiting for them to finally make their trip down pit road. So yeah, like we've been talking about, Mickey's gonna lose a decent amount of time to the leaders, but we'll have fresher tires to work with. So I think maybe trying, yeah, like you said, like we've been talking about, trying to set up the overcut here. So we'll see how this strategy works out for the A. And I can imagine, and Eric is a very talented oval driver, so I think he definitely knows what he's doing, and this is not any sort of mistake. He's definitely got a plan.
Chuck Sweeting did not have a great pit stop sequence. He is actually now behind the 60 of Vrabel Jr. Sweeting was running second before, but Vrabel had a really good sequence and will probably cycle out to be in second place. So that was a real good sequence for that 60 team. Back here for the 8th spot here, Finian, Jeff Hollingsworth. Actually, really, for 7th, England up in front of him as well. Jake Champion, Bentley Glaser, Thomas Morris, all in a locked battle back here, relatively close to each other. Now Andrew Lutz on pit lane in that number 101. He's pitting from 3rd.
Yeah, and at least 2 drivers out on the track that have yet to pit. Everyone else has made their pit stops.
So Mickey has gone 61 laps on fuel, and still has not come down. So at least we know how far they can run.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I wonder if he is trying to stretch it. And he's gonna be somewhat close if he can go
to lap 75. You're saying?
Yeah,
oh.
I mean, I don't know. Well, again, it's kind of hard to tell at this point. But
to my knowledge, the 100% fuel load pit window here is over 100 laps. But if you're running 60% fuel, that's an interesting strategy here. Cameron Rich unlapping himself from Eric Mickey and getting himself back off. So obviously he's got to be playing some kind of strategy here. Otherwise, he'd be in big trouble once this cycles through. Couple battles on the track. Wow, look at this one back here for 7th, Finian, the 97, the 26, the 27. 93 is out there as well. Jonathan Mazzella is up in 2nd place, though, so this won't be a battle for position for him. But Hollingsworth, Champion, Glazer, all in a fight. Eric Mickey on pit lane here, Finian, lap 64, so cannot do it on one stop. And
yeah, so this is him going to be trying to do the overcut.
Well, I guess we'll see if it'll work out. It's a risky idea. I mean, he was running really well before, so I question this just a little bit, but certainly later in the race it'll be nicer to have fresher tires than everyone else. So keep that 8 car in mind. He'll be back in the pack for most of the race, but towards the end, I think you'll see that 8 car come on back. Bentley Glaser in the 27, trying to chase down Jake Champion here. We haven't talked a whole lot about this 27 tonight. Started 14th, running 8th at the moment. And Jonathan Mazzella in the 93, Finian, has still not come to pit lane.
Yeah, he stayed up the absolute longest out of everyone.
67 laps on his fuel tank. And now you're talking, I mean, if you get a couple cautions late in the going, you might be able to stretch that. I mean, obviously, you still got to go another 8 laps or so. But generally, caution laps use about half the fuel that green flag lap does. And if he can go a couple more laps, all he'd have to get is about 8 or 9 laps of caution. That's really 2 or 3 laps, or 2 or 3 cautions. So that's certainly in the conversation.
Yeah. But the 97 slow on the inside.
Lost a couple spots there, did he? Let's go back and see if we can find out what happened to him.
Yeah, and this is more of a... He actually just let the 27 on by.
Yeah, he's been doing that a lot tonight. I'm a little bit surprised that he would do that. I mean, he's fast. He was up in 4th place before. I'm just curious as to why he's letting all these people by. He's got a competitive race car.
I actually went to check if he's Canadian. He is not. He's from Carolina. He's from the Carolinas, so well, that's definitely not it. So yeah, he's been oddly polite as Jonathan Mazzella is down on pit road to make his spot. So
69 laps on fuel here, Finian. So he can basically go to lap 140. So what that means is that he'd be 10 laps short, but we get cautions. I don't know. That's doable. It's more doable than it is for Eric Mickey. Obviously, Eric, I think, is still on the two-stop strategy.
Yeah, considering where he came in, he would have to.
Ooh, Robbie Vrabel and Chuck Sweeting in a very intense battle for the second spot. And they got the 101 car behind him. He's 1 lap down, but Sweeting is coming back, trying to resume his second-place position that he had earlier tonight.
Yeah, Sweeting actually entering the corner lane up from the 60, trying to arc it down, but just couldn't put off the 2.
Cameron Rich now 4 seconds up the road, so these guys battling for second spot have a long ways to go to catch that 2 car.
Yeah, we talk about where Eric Mickey ended up and all that. He's currently in 9th, so that's how much time he's lost by playing that strategy.
Quite a bit. It's a risky strategy, but it could pay off in the end. I think it would help if they had some late race cautions, because they can't take tires, and that'll get him closer to everybody, but obviously we'll have to see if that pans out. Again, the car count's a little bit lower than normal tonight. We have been caution-free for the first 72 laps.
Yeah, actually 3 laps from halfway.
Side by side on the backstretch, the 70 car and the 93 of Mazzella. This is a pass for position, 13th place. Mazzella will go on through.
Yeah, Mazzella pit the latest out of everyone. He's got the freshest tires. They're trying to work through this traffic up ahead of him.
And he's just driving away from the 70 car now. And if we take a look at the lap since pit, he has basically on the, where are we looking at, the 93? The 93 over the 70 car has about a 15 lap advantage on tires. That's significant.
So Mazzella actually just gets around Chuck Sweeting and trying to work around Vrabel. And to the inside he will go.
And Vrabel's just going to let him on through. That 101 car is also for position for that number 93.
As well as the 64 of Chad Brown. Actually, here goes the 101 to the inside of Chad Brown.
Halfway here at Richmond. And we got 150 laps, so we're 75 in for the David Cater 150. The battle going on now for the 11th spot. Andrew Lutz has it. Jonathan Mazzella wants it. Looking to the inside. Will he stick the nose in on corner entry? He dives in pretty deep here. Almost gets alongside, but Lutz will carry that speed through the center of the corner and hang on to it for now.
Mazzella got a pretty good run off of 2 looks to the inside, but Lutz is going to cut him off.
Ooh, Vrabel has gotten passed by Chuck Sweeting here, Finney. We missed that. And I would like to go back and catch that pass. And it was down into turn number 1 the last time through. So Sweeting was able to recapture his second place running position. Mazzella and Lutz have traded spots now. The 93 has the spot up to 11th. Needs to go up another 8 seconds or so to catch David Wilson. So a long way to go for that 93 for the next spot. Vrabel trying to hang on to the 5 car. Back up to the rear bumper. A push out of turn 2 on the back straightaway.
And you can tell that he's hungry for position as he's trying to get Chuck Sweeting, trying to get past him, because again, this is a battle for second place.
Well, we were told that there are some really talented drivers in this league here, Finian. Can I just read you the I ratings of the first 5 cars?
Sure.
6,295, 4,837, 6,404, 5,545, 45,000, 4,553. And most of the rest of the guys are at least 2 or 3K, so there is a very talented group of drivers here tonight. I think there's only 4 or 5 cars that are below 2,000 I rating.
Yeah, that is some very impressive numbers. I'm actually interested in looking at the SOF of this field once the race is over, because it's got to be in the 3,000s.
Oh, for sure, at least 3,000. 19 car trying to get around the 70, turns hard left to the inside of the 70 car. Matt White is a lap down. Dalton England is in 4th place and takes that hard left, fakes out the 70, will take that spot away. Not for position, obviously, but trying to get himself closer to Robbie Vrabel Jr. up the road about 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, and England, remember, trying to recover from that mistake he made on pit stops earlier, and you can see that cost him at least a second or 2. And that's about, and if he had not made a mistake, he'd be in the midst of that battle with Sweeting and Vrabel, but is currently trying to chase them back down.
Update on Dakota Ehrman in the 49 had to come back down pit lane after missing his pit stall. Currently in 15th place, 1 lap down. Running okay lap times, Finian, but it's going to be hard to get your lap back without a caution here. We've been so green so far. I don't see this really happening.
Yeah, was able to race back down one of those laps. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get the other. That mistake cost him dearly as he had to make another trip down pit road.
Well, how's our leader Cameron Rich doing? He's 5 seconds out in front of Chuck Sweeting now on lap 86. So he's cruising right now, lap 85, excuse me. He's cruising right now in that number 2 car. And I don't think anyone's going to touch him. He's led pretty much all the laps so far tonight.
Yeah, Sweeting ran a very similar lap time to him, was about 13,000 seconds, 13,000th of a second
13,000 seconds slower? My goodness, Finian, that's pretty slow.
Yeah, so no, very close lap times, but advantage to Cameron Rich at the moment.
Battle for 5th going on here. Jake Champion, Bentley Glazer. And they're separated by about 0.2 of a second. Champion has a spot. Remember, that 26 car started in 13th, so 8 spots moving forward for Jake.
Yeah, one of the biggest movers of the race, but the biggest mover of the race is Robbie Vrabel Jr., currently in 3rd, started in 12th.
9 spots forward for that 60 car. You still see Sweeting just up the road, so Vrabel hasn't really fallen off with Sweeting a whole lot. And come to a late race caution, I like being in 3rd better than in 2nd, so I think Vrabel's in a decent spot should something happen. Well, the 70 and the 64 are close together on the racetrack. Remember, these guys didn't really agree with each other a whole lot prior to this, and they had that incident earlier in the race, and the 64 is currently chasing down that 70 car.
Yeah, I would say these guys have had a little bit of history tonight.
I would say so. And that was probably the closest we've been to a caution other than our first lap incident with the 109 of Ryan Kelly. And smooth driving for Chad Brown. He's closing in a little bit.
And actually, a small update on Eric Mickey. He's caught the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth. That's going to be a battle for 7th position.
And to the inside out of turn 4. I don't think the 97 is going to contest this too much. He hasn't really contested much of anyone tonight.
Yeah, I would say he's been very conservative. Been very conservative as the night's gone on, just letting people by, knowing when he's lost the battle.
I'm just surprised though, because I would have thought that at Richmond, especially with the low car count like this, I mean, your worst points finish isn't really going to be all that bad. So I would have been going a little bit harder if I was Jeff. He has the pace to do it. His best lap time is pretty darn quick. As you see up the road there to the 26, you mentioned it, Finian, getting passed by the 27 car.
But he's not done yet. Champion tried to do the crossover, wasn't able to get it done, so Glazer's going to have that position for now, but that's allowed Mickey to chase both these guys down. Mickey trying to make a pass up to 5th position.
To the inside, here comes Eric Mickey. We'll get the nose alongside, and the 26 won't contest it. I see a lot of guys really being very conservative tonight, moving over, and this is, I guess we're not used to this in the short track stuff especially. These guys being very respectful here tonight.
Yeah, I think definitely a lot of these guys are going to actually let Mickey on by. I think they know it's a losing battle.
26 car to pit road here, Finian. Final pit stop of the night, presumably.
Yeah, this is definitely, we know that these guys can make it about, what was it?
Oh, it was 69 laps or so.
69 laps, yeah. So definitely can make it to the end here.
So the 26 of Jake Champion, the first one to pit road. Who's going to be the next to follow? It's Dalton England in the number 19. He's on pit road now.
So the guys trying to pull off the undercut here is also just to get into some clean air, especially if you're battling someone. Just put down some nice laps, and you should end up around them once the pit stop cycle through.
All right, well, let's see. Bentley Glazer in the number 27 is down to pit lane as well. I believe Robbie Vrabel has come down. And
yeah, this is a little bit earlier than I thought some of these guys would have come down. They came down at lap 50, so I was expecting them at a around lap 100, so they come in about 5-7 laps earlier.
So does anybody have anything for Cameron Rich here, Finian? We're coming up to 50 to go. He has a 5-second lead over Chuck Sweeting. Chuck is able to match his lap times here, but he needs to get closer in track position.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say potentially either Chuck Sweeting or potentially Eric Mickey's been putting some good laps in. However, he's lost 10 seconds by staying out on that first set of pit stops. So I would say probably potentially one of those two drivers has something for Rich, but Rich has been pretty much the class of the field this night.
Well, we will note that Eric Mickey is now 10 seconds back from the leader, but he has been the quickest car on the racetrack for a couple laps other than Chuck Sweeting, so keep an eye on that number 8 car. We mentioned it earlier after he made his pit stop, but I'd still say that he's got a chance left at this, especially if we get a caution late in the going, and he already has fresher tires. That could be a good move for that 8 car. Everything's kind of settled down here, Finney. We got pit stops going on every once in a while, but for the most part, people have really settled in to a long run. It's been green for the entire 98 laps of this race so far. Cameron Rich on pit lane from the lead.
Yeah, this is pretty much on target when he should have been coming in. So we'll cross the line for lap crosses to lap 99.
Into his pit box, stops nicely, doesn't overshoot. Such an important thing here. Now, was Chuck Sweeting come down? Yes, he does. Follows the 2 car straight down, so he doesn't lose any ground.
And that's going to cycle Eric Mickey back out to the lead. Now, question: when is Eric Mickey going to decide to come in?
So if we take a look at his tires and fuel tank, he's got 35 laps on him, so he can go another 34 laps. That'll bring you to lap 134. It's 15 short. Ain't going to do it. So the question is, when does he come? We'll have 50 laps to go at the line. Actually, right there, 50 laps to go. Eric Mickey, your leader. Pit stop's underway right now. Chuck Sweeting is down and out of pit lane. It looks like Dalton England was able to leapfrog Chuck Sweeting by beating him, and as well as Robbie Vrabel, so Sweeting's going to have to pass a couple more cars. Now, did England get in pit lane quick enough to beat the 2 car? No. Cameron Rich is about 2.5 seconds up the road. Thomas Morris into pit road was 3rd. Will obviously drop back to where he was running prior to that. Not a great night for that 99 car. Looking to improve on this final run. Do you think we'll see a caution here, Finney? I think we've been pretty green. I don't really see this happening.
Yeah, I would say we're probably in the lowest chance of a caution coming out at this point in the race. I think it's really spread out. I mean, if you were to look from the blimp cam, you can see that everyone's just pretty spread out on the track, pretty almost equidistant in some parts. So yeah, the odds of a caution coming out pretty low.
The 70 car is dealing with quite a bit of traffic around him at the moment. Matt White still in 3rd, has not come down to pit lane. Eric Mickey driving by him. And here comes the 2 alongside. So you see Mickey getting passed now by Cameron Rich. That's certainly going to mean that Eric Mickey has a lot of work left to do, because you lose almost 2 laps here when you come down to pit lane. If a caution were to come out right now, that would put Eric Mickey in a phenomenal spot. He would come out of pit road in about 3rd place, with Cameron Rich probably staying out. So, you know, this is a pretty good move for Eric Mickey if the caution were to fly, but it seems unlikely at this point. There's the 28 car, David Wilson, alongside the 70, not for position.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the flaw with the strategy, that he has to bank on a caution coming out, and I think the way that these guys have been driving all night, it doesn't seem like that's going to really come.
Well, the problem with clean driving is it's a gift and sometimes a curse, because when you know there's going to be cautions, you can adjust your strategy to work like that, but sometimes you predict there's going to be yellows and they don't happen. So you see now Dalton England passing Matt White for 4th. And I think Eric Mickey might have locked himself in a box here. There's the 28 car, locked in a battle with Eric Mickey now, getting himself one of his 2 laps back. To the inside he goes. Mickey won't contest it.
And here comes Dalton England, currently running in 5th, trying to get around the leader.
Hoping and praying for a yellow flag to fly is Eric Mickey inside that Chevrolet Camaro. How are his brakes doing? He's been working them harder than most people, but they're very cool. He's been doing a great job of being smooth lately. And behind him, Chuck Sweeting working through some traffic. Up to 6th in that number 5 car.
Yeah, up to 6th and right behind Vrabel in 5th. So both of those cars fighting for position.
And Vrabel held up behind Eric Mickey and Thomas Morris here. So here comes Chuck Sweeting. He'll probably make do almost 3 wide out of turn 4. They're going to get to the inside of the number 8 of Mickey. And Sweeting going to try to follow Vrabel on through. But now Vrabel is side by side with Thomas Morris. Morris back in 13th place, 1 lap down. Well, I think Eric Mickey, Finian, I think the only thing he's got left is waiting for a caution, because if he pits now, it's not going to be anywhere near long enough for that undercut to really do much, or the overcut to really do much of anything. And if he waits until 15 to go to pit, he's just going to come out and be stuck in 12th or wherever he ends up. So this only works if he gets a caution, and I just don't see it happening. So we got to wonder, with the speed he had in that race car, would it have been safer just to copy what everyone else was doing?
Yeah, I think it would have been safer to copy what everyone else is doing. I just don't think the runs are long enough with the limited fuel to help him get back the time he's lost on those fresher tires that he has. So I think that's where his strategy is kind of backfiring.
We see this a lot. We see a lot of drivers that walk into a race, they have an expectation of the way things are going to go, and they plan for that, and then when things don't happen as they expected them to, it puts them behind on strategy here. So he stays out another lap. We're coming up now to what should be 35 to go next time by. 36 to go. Vrabel and Sweeting nose to tail here. Vrabel's got 5th, Sweeting's got 6th. But I suspect this is going to change here in a moment.
See Vrabel in the middle of the track, Sweeting down to the yellow. And here comes Sweeting with a run.
Chuck Sweeting down to the inside of Robbie Vrabel will take 5th place away, and he'll complete the pass out of turn number 2. Vrabel stays alongside, but that outside lane has not really come in. Sometimes that line can get worked in just a little bit where you can maintain momentum in that outside lane, but not tonight. Dakota Ehrman in the 49 down to pit lane in that 49 car. I think I just said 49 about 4 times in that same sentence. My brain is getting a little fried.
Oh, and Ehrman just plowed it into the pit wall.
Oh, Dakota Ehrman did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Big damage on that 49 car, and it'll be the end of the night for him. Let's take a look. Yeah, that was a frustration pullover there, I think, for the 49 car. So the end of the night for Dakota Ehrman. Battle for second heating up here a little bit. Jonathan Mazzella catching Cameron Rich potentially. Or is it the other way around? Looks to be the other way around.
Yeah, no, definitely the other way around.
Yeah, Mazzella's got 47 laps in his tires. Rich has 18. So Rich is only 11.7 seconds back, so Mickey can't even take a splash and go and attempt to get some spots back. Although that wouldn't be a terrible strategy here, Finian, to come down and get a splash of fuel and head back out. You might lose a lot less spots that way. Just fill it up with a couple of gallons just to get it to the end.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see what he does, see if he improvises on the spot with a strategy that didn't really work out as well as he was expecting. So Eric Mickey still has the lead here. He's still fighting through some traffic, and up the racetrack he goes. Everyone on the track except for a few others around him. Let's take a look. All those drivers that are 25 laps and under have pitted, and they're done for the night. Everyone 50, well, really, actually, I correct myself. Mickey and Mazzella are the only 2 drivers left on the racetrack that still need to pit.
Yeah, same as we saw when they were going for the first round of pit stops.
And Mazzella did go longer. He went 69 laps. Eric Mickey only went about 65. So we have 30 laps to go now. Eric Mickey leads by 9.6 seconds over Cameron Rich. But Cameron Rich, the difference that we're really looking at is Dalton England. He is now, I believe, 4 seconds back from Cameron Rich. And that is really the only battle that matters because England is done pitting for the night. Everyone else around him needs to come. But Chuck Sweeting is charging fast here. And I think Sweeting will get back by this 19 car in time.
Yeah, the pace difference between both of them is about a 10th. With the advantage to Chuck Sweeting. So yeah, at this pace he's going, you should be able to catch England.
And riding on board the gyro cam on Chuck Sweeting's car, you can see him physically reeling in that 19 car on corner exit, and through the center he makes up a ton of ground on that gray Chevrolet Camaro. just ticking off laps here. Coming soon to 25 to go. Eric Mickey's kind of made his bed. He'll have to lay in it here as Cameron Rich is stalking him from 8 seconds behind.
Yeah, and Rich has been trailing him in at a very fast pace, now down to 7.7 seconds.
I did hear from the chat there, Finian, that there is an issue. The lollipop guy is not showing up. So the pit crew guys with the signs for the numbers were not showing up. So that might be why a couple guys were missing their boxes. At least that was what was happened to the 49 of Dakota Ehrman. That's a very frustrating thing. But now we're watching Dalton England and Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting enters up the racetrack high, maybe trying to do a crossover on corner exit. Turns it down to the bottom, trying to get that 4th place away.
Yeah, this is not just for 4th too. There's the 93 ahead of them, so this will put Sweeting to 3rd place as soon as the 93 comes into pit. But currently he's right ahead of them and actually holding up England.
Down to the inside goes England to try to get around the slow Jonathan Mazzella. And the number 5 of Chuck Sweeting gets a great run out of turn 2. Will get up alongside the 93, but he's still got to work over that 19 of Dalton S. England.
Yeah, they'll both come out of the corner, so Sweeting back at square one, trying to get around the 19.
See Sweeting really trying to use that late apex move. It's almost something you see a lot in road racing, what he's trying to do right now, which is peculiar because he struggled a lot on the road courses in the 3-wide series. Oh, goes to the outside.
The outside.
And a great run out of turn 4, side by side, sideways out of turn 4. Almost some contact there with the 19. But he gave it a valiant effort on that outside groove, but just didn't quite have the grip to complete it, but he's still hanging on. If he can hang on out of turn 2, he'll have a nice solid run down into turn 3. And it looks like England's loose. Sweeting drives off into the corner on the outside door, trying to maintain that line, and they're side by side again out of turn 4.
And I think you might have it here off of 4. They see England get very tight, and he's going to be clear 5 up to 3rd place.
Wow, power move around the outside for Chuck Sweeting. Very well done. We haven't seen anybody pass out there all night. So Sweeting did a phenomenal job, moves himself up into 3rd.
And Eric Mickey down on pit road.
Yep, so Eric Mickey coming down. This is going to put the final nail in the coffin of a run for the victory. Was waiting for a caution and never got it. And he's going to drop like a fly here. And I'd be surprised if we just didn't see him take a little bit of gas. If he takes all 4 tires here, I'd be a little bit shocked because he's going to drop way down the running order here. Yep, he's taking tires. I don't understand that, but I guess we'll see how it'll return him to the racetrack here. He's going to be outside the top 10 here, Finian.
Yeah, no, definitely, and he's not going to have a lot of time to get it done because we're within 20 laps to go.
Yeah, he's back in 11th spot up the road. You saw Thomas Morris kind of in a battle with a couple other cars here. The 60 of Rabel and the 93 of Mazzella. These are lead lap cars. Mazzella still needs to come to pit road. Within 10 laps, he's going to have to come down, and he's going to probably suffer an even worse fate than Mickey. $19 laps to go. The ticker is now counting laps down, and that means we're getting really close to the end of the race. It's over 6 minutes of racing remaining, but that's going to not mean a whole lot. I do know, Finian, that Chuck Sweeting has been running faster than Cameron Rich. Caution on the racetrack here, Finian. Big implications for the end of this race. Matt White spun on the back straightaway. That changes everything about how this race is going to finish here. Wow.
Yeah, that does indeed.
And if Eric Mickey had just stayed out a couple more laps, he would have been leading this race in a great position to win.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, that's gonna be big there. But I kind of wonder now, out of the guys still running, who's gonna come down pit road? Because Mickey could still get the wave around if everyone on the lead lap were to pit. So we'll see what the guys up toward the front decide to do, because they've ran about 20-30 laps on their tires, some of them, and here we go. Cameron Rich is going to pull off.
Yep, and we're following. We just saw the replay there. Just a single car self-spin out of the corner for the 70 car, and it looks like, yeah, everyone's coming down here, Finian?
Think so.
All right, well, Jonathan Mazzella, that worked out perfect for him in that 93 car. Started back in the 5th spot, and has been running really good all night, but got off strategy with Eric Mickey, and he managed to last a couple more laps and worked out a lot better for the 93 than it did for the 8. Oh, he missed his box there just by a little bit, though. It's going to hurt him.
Yeah, it's going to hurt him, but I think overall, a big beneficiary from that. So actually could have, based on the way he pitted, it could have gone a few more laps. So great job by that 93 with the strategy, and he's going to come out of the pits just behind the 60 of Rabel, so that'll put him in 5th place.
Well, I am liking where Chuck Sweeting is right now, Finian. He was running a little bit quicker. I know there's a little bit of a tire difference between him and Rich, but Chuck Sweeting is fast. Remember, he led some of the race at the beginning here. So don't count Sweeting out, especially because he made a pass on the outside, something we haven't seen anybody else do tonight. So I like Sweeting for the end of this here if I can't pick Rich.
Yeah, and Eric Mickey will sit behind the pace car as well as 64 Chad Brown, both of them waiting to take their wave around with 1 lap to green.
All right, I was trying to see if Chuck Sweeting was available to talk, but I don't see him around. Cameron Rich is available. Do you want to see if you can grab Cameron Rich real quick, Finian?
Sure.
Hey, Cameron Rich, Kyle from the SimTV booth. You got a copy?
What's going on, man?
Well, it's going real good for you so far. You've led the majority of the race, but obviously a caution put a hamper on what was going to be an absolute domination of a finish here. But now that yellow changes some things, and you're going to be leading here with under 15 laps to go. So what's your plan for the final few laps here?
Go faster than the cars behind me.
Can't argue with you.
Not really much. I think I've been trying to do that all race, so just we're all on equal tires now, so probably be more like the start of the race. I think if I can jump Chat or Chuck, I think I should be fine here.
All right, well, we'll let you get back because you got work to do and you got to get focused. But thanks for talking to us, Cameron, and good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we've returned Cameron back to his team so we can talk about the last couple laps here, Finian. All right, well, if you're Cameron Rich, outside or inside your Finian, I think sometimes it's easier to defend from that outside lane, but given that passing lane to a competitor is sometimes something hard to swallow.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think probably I would prefer to have the inside line just with the restart. With these guys still building up speed, I think might still want the inside into one. That's just my personal preference. Well, and it looks like also the preference of the two.
Yeah, so Cameron Rich has chosen that inside lane. I'm also curious to see here, Finian, Eric Mickey back on equal tires as everyone else in 10th. If he can make up what he lost, he's going to be a hard-charging car through the rest of this field here. So keep an eye on that 8 car in the background. We'll have 12 laps to go in this race. That was our first and only caution of the night. These guys know what they're doing, but will it devolve into some argy-bargy, some pushing and shoving? We're about to find out. Pace car pulls off. Cameron Rich in the 2 car launches for the green flag. We got 12 laps to go here at Richmond.
And he's going to clear Sweeting by the line there. You see him go up the track. Sweeting trying to get as close as he can to Rich as they all fan out into turn 1.
Well, lots of cars spreading through turns 1 and 2. Will any of them get together? So far, pretty clean back here. Eric Mickey behind all this. But Sweeting did not get a fantastic restart and needs to do a little bit of running down to catch Cameron Rich here.
Yeah, 11 laps to go in this race. Sweeting trying to do his best to chase him down. He's also got Dalton England right behind.
There is a lot of action from 5th on back here. Here comes the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth making a pass for the first time tonight that we've seen since the first 20 laps or so. He's been giving them away for most of the race. Takes it, clears the 101, just barely out of turn 4. Aggressive pass to the outside. He'll make that move, work down into turn 1. The 101 will go high. Here comes the 26 of Jake Champion trying to steal a spot away as well. Oh, we got the 97 loose out of turn 2. We saw some sparks kicking up. Hollingsworth will hang on to it for now.
Yeah, that was the sparks were from the 26 of Champion getting to the wall. And whoa, almost gets into the back bumper of the 97. He does make contact, and that sends Hollingsworth into the wall. So a lot of guys playing rough with each other here.
9 laps to go here at Richmond. If you're going to play rough, it's time to do it out of turn 2. The 26 and 97 are side by side. Behind them, David Wilson and the 101 of Andrew Lutz. Andrew is a lap down in that 101 car. But lots of pushing and shoving here. It's time to do all your taking and no giving at the end. What about Dalton England and Robbie Vrabel here, Finney? They're fighting hard for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, and I think Vrabel might have something for England here. He's right up behind him, as well as England might have something for Sweeting. Sweeting starting to fall off the pace from Cameron Rich ahead.
Yeah, Cameron Rich has just been rock solid all night. 2/10 quicker than anybody else last time. Sweeting and England, identical laps last time through. Vrabel quicker than both of them and matching the leader. If Vrabel was closer to the front, he might have had a shot at this, but might be too far to get up to Cameron Rich at this point, but dropping back in line in fourth with coming to 6 laps to go. Hollingsworth and Champion were side by side through 3 and 4. Hollingsworth will hang on to that 7th spot for now. And Jake Champion was driving that car sideways into turn 1.
Yeah, and sideways off of 2 as well.
Pushing hard. 5 laps to go for the leader, Cameron Rich. Can he hang on and dominate Richmond here in round number 4 of the SCRS Winter Stock Car Series? Behind them, Hollingsworth and Jake Champion battling for 7th extremely hard. They've been all over each other. The 97 will give that spot away, try to pull down the racetrack. Here comes the 28 car of David Wilson, trying to take advantage of it as well. Looks like Champion got in the fence, as did the 101 of Andrew Lutz out of turn 2. And the 99 of Morris trying to get to the inside of Lutz. That'll be for a pass for position for 12th if he can get it done.
Yeah, some scrambling in the midfield, but Cameron Rich leading these guys, trying to get his first win of the season.
Cameron Rich hasn't won a race yet this season?
He has not. It's actually gone to several different drivers, and most of them actually not here tonight.
Wow, Cameron Rich. That's been a long time coming for him then. He's obviously been dominant in the 3-wide league and saw a championship there, I believe.
Yeah, and leading the points still in the B Series, which is still a fantastic job to do without a win. But he's trying to add that to his name right now. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, behind them, England and Vrabel, door to door out of turn number 4. 19 will hang on to it for now. If the caution comes out now, the race is over, and that would conclude the race here tonight. But Vrabel trying to get that spot away, but cannot do it just yet. Lots of battles all over the racetrack, but the one who is all by himself is out front, Cameron Rich, driving that number 2 Chevrolet Camaro. Has not won a race yet this season. We're 4 rounds in. Started up in 2nd place. Sweeting had won the pole, but Rich got out there out in front, drove away, played the pit stop sequence to a T. Now it's half a lap left. You see the 19
England
get bumped out of the groove there, trying to defend from Robbie Vrabel. Through turns 3 and 4, checkered flag waves for Cameron Rich, first win of the season in the SCRS Winter Stock Car Series.
Yeah, and Chuck Sweeting will fall behind in 2nd, as well as Dalton England in 3rd, Robbie Vrabel in 4th, and Jonathan Mazzella with some fantastic strategy will put him in 5th where he started.
So Rich wins the race here, fitting a lot of people all getting together on the cooldown lap here, and I'm curious to see if there's any people that are having some disagreements, but so far it looks like everyone's behaving. The 26 car of Champion was having a pretty intense battle with the 97 car, but they'll all be fine. 26 and 27 dooring each other just a little bit. Oh, ran the 27 into the wall. But Cameron Rich, victorious at Richmond, is doing burnouts on the front straight. A victory well earned. We talked to him prior to that restart. He said all he had to do was be faster than the other guys. That's certainly what being a race car driver entails.
Yeah, definitely so.
See the fireworks exploding there off the front stretch grandstands. Or back stretch grandstands, excuse me. But yeah, Cameron Rich, obviously another dominant victory here tonight. Heading to victory lane. We'll talk to him here in a couple minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back live here to Sim TV at Richmond Raceway with your winner, Cameron Rich, driving the number 2 Camaro. We talked to you prior to that last restart. You were pretty confident about just being faster than the other guys, and you certainly were tonight. An absolutely dominating victory here. You managed to hold off in the late stages, a charging Chuck Sweeting. Tell us about tonight.
Yeah, if there's a track that I have confidence in myself at, it's this one. I think this is my best one. I love racing here. It fits my driving style really well, whatever the hell that means. But yeah, it's just about hitting your marks every lap. You can't overdrive the corners. It'll bite you hard. Especially with the setup tonight. It seemed to, if you got into one a little bit too hard, I think it would slam on the splitter or something because it would just stop turning. But back up your corner a little bit and it's fine. But I knew Chuck was going to be good. I raced with him in the 3 wide race a couple months ago, and he beat me there. So it's good to finally beat him this time.
Normally I ask people what they have coming up on the schedule that is circled, what other races they think they're going to win at, but I'm going to turn it around, Cameron. What's a track that you were kind of dreading coming up on the schedule, or are there none?
Oh, God. If there was going to be one, it would have to be the Roval, because I think if there's going to be someone who's going to take the Keselowski line into turn 1, it's going to be me, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to pile up the field behind me. That would be kind of embarrassing, but that and just hitting those curves and like flipping and stuff, it's not, it's a little bit of a not good outcome. But yeah, it would definitely be that.
All right, Cameron. Well, thanks for talking to us. A nice solid win tonight for the 2 of Cameron Rich. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. Next, we're going to talk to the driver of the number 19 car, Dalton England. Dalton, that was quite the night you had there in the number 19 car. You battled quite a bit with Chuck Sweeting, and there were some differing strategies there, but you ended up coming home in P3. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, overall, it was a pretty good night. On the first pit stop, the pit box thing went missing, and so I overshot the pit stall and had to back up, lost about 5 seconds. So I was banking on a caution earlier on than it happened, but it looked like it was going to stay green for a long while there and maybe go green to the checkered, but I overall can't complain. It was fun racing with Chuck. And
all right, Dalton. Well, obviously, a great night for you. Started third, finished third. Great effort there, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. And last but not least, we're going to talk to... Oh, hey, Robbie. How you doing? Sorry to steal you from your conversation.
Wonderful.
That was a great race you had there in the number 60. You came from a long ways back. I believe you were our biggest mover tonight from 12th to 4th, up 8 spots. Oh, yeah. So it was a great run for you. Obviously, a very competitive field out there. Walk us through that whole race and all the strategy that happened.
Well, the strategy kind of got thrown away with the caution that came out late. I figured I was going to finish about 5th because I was about to pass the 93, so probably 4th. So you know what, to be honest with you, I probably would have finished about where I would have it stay green. I tried to short pit. I thought if I could get in front of Chuck and I could save my tires for a few laps that I might be able to just hold him off, but he was a rocket after the first 10 laps. He was running that middle to high line and cutting it down, and he was running it way better than I could have. There was no way I could. I tried it a few times, and I was so tight on exit, I just couldn't hang with him. The run that he was getting on corner exit, I was amazed. I kept telling Dalton, I said, this guy's an alien. I couldn't believe it. But it was fun. To start 12th, I goofed up in qualifying. I overshot turn 1 and put it in the middle and tried to restart my lap, and then I knocked the fence down off of turn 2. So started 12th and finished 4th. It's not a bad day at Richmond. Anytime I start outside the top 10, I usually don't finish, so I'll take that.
Yeah, so obviously you finished 4th. It was a good night for you, but do you think if you were up a little bit closer to Cameron Rich, you would have had anything for him? Because you were actually running some pretty close lap times late in the race.
Honestly, I don't think so. Having to come through traffic here, anytime you put more abuse on your tires than what you need, you're at a little bit of a disadvantage, and Cameron's fast to begin with. So with him having the fresh track and not having to really worry about traffic, I think it would have been extremely hard to pass him. I think out of all 4 of us in the top 5 there, I think Chuck probably had the best shot after 10, 15 laps because, like I said, he was able to run that high line 10 times better than we all were. So I think 4th is about as good as I could have got. If I wanted to rough up Dalton a little bit, I feel like I could have got 3rd at best, but there's no way that I was going to get Cameron. I don't think, not tonight.
All right, Robbie. Well, obviously a nice solid top 5 finish for you. We'll talk to you next week, Robbie. Thanks for talking with us.
Sounds good. You guys mind if I give a quick shout out to David Cater? I know we lost him earlier this week, and I know a lot of people would love the opportunity to say something about David. David helped me when I first started iRacing more than anybody that I've ever met on the sim until I joined APC. He was the go-to guy, and it's been a huge blow and a big shock to just about everybody that heard about his passing. And to see all the support that he had in the forum, it's pretty remarkable to see what an impact that man had. So I just want to say we miss him, and we'll race on in his memory.
Thank you very much, Robbie. Have a great night.
You too, guys. Take care.
Yep. All right, so you heard that, obviously, we were running in memory of David Cater here tonight. Obviously, the David Cater 150 complete, and Cameron Rich winning the race here. Obviously, please, if you have the means, go ahead and donate to David Cater's family via that GoFundMe link that is in the live chat. If you don't see the live chat just yet, it'll be up soon. Let YouTube take care of that for a couple hours. But Finian, a great race here tonight. One caution. Very, very competitive field. Fun racing at Richmond.
Yeah, some really tight racing with a lot of the guys. Very clean. I mean, only one caution in the 150 laps that we had, and that was only towards the end. But these guys put on some fantastic hard racing. You saw guys go at it. They weren't necessarily, I would say, calm. I mean, they were racing pretty hard for those positions, and were able to keep it clean. So that was fantastic to see.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of strategy in this one too, Finian. I mean, we saw Eric Mickey really try something that ultimately didn't end up going as well as he probably would have liked, but he certainly gave it his best shot.
Yeah, definitely so. But next week he's gonna have to try to make up some of the points that he lost as we go to the Charlotte Roval.
Oh.
And the fun thing about this, sorry, not next week. I keep saying next week. 2 weeks from now, due to the Christmas holidays, we'll be on December 30th. We'll be at the Charlotte Roval, and the fun thing about that is that the official name for this, as far as Dan DeLisa is concerned, is Roval in all caps, followed by 5 exclamation points.
All right. Well, obviously the Roval coming up in 2 weeks' time. That's going to be the meat grinder of racetracks, the car blender, and the race teams are all be crying about that one. That's going to tear up a lot of equipment. So be with us in 2 weeks' time. Obviously, if you have not donated to David Cater's fund, please go do that. They still have a little ways to go to get to their $10,000 goal. So please take the time and go ahead and do that. Thanks for watching. We'll be with you, what's tonight? Sunday. We'll be with you Tuesday night for the Fuel Rig Share Cup Series finale from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That'll be 9:30 Eastern Standard. 9:30? 9 o'clock. 9:30. What's the time? I can't remember. I think it's 9 o'clock, but I'm having a brain fart here. But
For what?
for Fuel Cup. It's 9:30.
9.
Oh, dang it. I'm off. All right. Well, don't listen to me. Listen to Finian. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, Fuel Rig Share Cup Series finale. Wednesday, Virtual Mars finale from Summit Point. Thursday, finale, Fuel IndyCar Series from Auto Club Speedway. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.